welcome to edition number 4 of the Bitcoin SV Business Show. This is a show where we talk about entrepreneurship on the BSV Bitcoin blockchain and the developments which are taking place on it. And this week is going to be a really exciting week because we have the one and only Getar Hoti. Getar, good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Well, good afternoon, Nick. Happy to be here to talk to you.
Thank you very much indeed. So, Getar, I suppose we can start with $5. Wow. What a few months for $5. How's it going over there?
Well, it's going great, actually. I mean, I can't complain, really. It's like, it's good to see so much movement, so much stuff going on in there, people building, negotiating, offering, counter offering, you know, it's all that part of the trade. So it's good to see that a lot of great ideas are coming to life through Fivebucks, and Fivebucks is helping them in some way or another to become a reality.
Yeah, so it's a real hot hub for business. Before we really delve into it, can you just tell our viewers a bit about your background and who you are, etc., like that? You could do that.
Yeah. Basically, it's like I am a digital entrepreneur, I'd like to call myself, because I started as a medical student, but I've always had a passion for risk management and business, and I even had a risk management blog a long time ago when I was still a freshman in university. And ultimately, I dropped out of medical school to pursue my passion in online entrepreneurship, and I've launched a couple of ventures, mainly niche, and then I ventured into forex trading, where I've been a forex trader for a couple of years, and then I discovered crypto, and from crypto I discovered the whole Bitcoin community, better to say Satoshi Nakamoto, aka Craig Wright, and his writings, which really inspired me to build. And from there, I decided to build. Based on based on my assessment of the ecosystem and on what I saw was needed to drive adoption, but at the same time for me to profit in the process, I created Fivebucks as a small commerce hub for digital services, which I think come handy to small BSV startups.
Absolutely. For the viewers who will listen to the show, please do visit fivebuckscom. If you are thinking about starting a business and you're looking for things that need doing, there's so many. What types of things can in small businesses get done on $5, Getar?
Well, pretty much everything. I mean, our best-selling services right now are mainly illustration, graphic services, like design, logo design sells a lot, but you can also find content creators, like for blog articles. You can find web developers, web creators. You can find voiceover artists. You can find pretty much, you know, most things that you find in other freelance websites, only that on Fivebucks you can buy them directly with BSV for much less, because we use BSV, so as payment method, not PayPal, etc. And you can also onboard others, because a lot of these sellers are new to crypto. They are not they have never used a cryptocurrency before, so you can onboard them directly to BSV instead of having them go through 7 other cryptos to discover BSV in the end.
Yes, exactly. It's a really clever idea. When did you think of the concept? What was the moment that you had that bright idea? Can you remember that?
Well, yeah, I was actually a big fan of Open Bazaar in the beginning, but before I knew the history of Bitcoin and how Open Bazaar was basically a reincarnation of Silk Road, which I deter and don't support in any way, neither in principle nor in business, because I think it's a flawed business model and an unethical idea. And but anyway, I was a fan of Open Bazaar as an e-commerce platform, but then it let me down in so many ways, because I saw that there was very little activity on it. I saw a lot of overpriced items, and overall I saw this tendency among crypto businesses to overcharge, you know, as if they are trying to rip these people off. Like, you know, the crypto community is I guess relatively, I don't like to say rich, but a niche, a small community of very passionate users. And I saw a lot of websites where they are overcharging for stuff, and it's like they are trying to rip these users off. And so I said, what do we really need here? Or I saw a lot of also badly done website services for which people charge a lot. And I was like, you can do this for much less, you know, than what these people are paying. Starting from videos, from ads, you know. from logos, from everything really. So I had this idea. I said, in my mind, what this really needs is a place to galvanize people to spend and build, because what we don't have now. Because now, if you had the money when I joined, you couldn't do much with it, and I didn't join during Silk Road. So it's like, and I was like, yeah, what is needed is something like with a small barrier to entry, with small prices, where people can spend also for fun, but at the same time get something in return, instead of just tipping. Something else that I really didn't like. I mean, I appreciate it as a good start, but I didn't like it become the whole economy. Is the tip economy. I'm for tips, but they can't be an economy. So in this sense, I'm sure that in the future we'll see a lot more platforms like Fivebucks, even competitors, even e-commerce platforms. And I think some are already coming up soon. And some have already been built, actually. I saw an application on Android, I think, very similar to Fivebucks. So my idea was to create a place where people can connect with each other through proof of work, like through doing, meaningful connections, not just online social connections, and put their money to work and build, because in the end it helps also their own BSV investment. If they build and if they spend the money as BSV by onboarding others, by building, and by the same time increasing adoption and increasing the value of their own holdings.
Absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I've used your website, fivebuckscom, quite a few times, and I have to say, I've been very, very impressed with what I've received, and the logo that you can see on your screen now. Guess where I got that?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, I'm
Absolutely
happy.
beautiful.
I'm happy to see this. I'm happy to see businesses building and using Five, because that's why Fivebucks was created, to serve business, to build.
Yes, and it certainly does that. And it's, in case the providers of these services get confused and think that everything is done for $5, can you actually explain how this model works, in terms of it's not just $5? Jobs can be.
Of course. I mean,
Yeah.
basically, it's a tier one. It's a multi-tier model. Like tier one is $5. It's for small services. We are still in the embryonic stage of $5. So here we still try to focus on emphasizing convenience and the fact that services start from $5, because people just want to throw themselves out there to get started, to connect with others, freelancers, get something for their money. But it doesn't stop there, because once a freelancer builds a reputation and makes connections, then they can start charging more and more. So for this, we have already added extras, for example, where on your $5 base service, you can add extras of up to $100 each.
Yes.
And from there, you could already order services for more than $5 by increasing quantity. So a lot of people, before we added extras, already started using the multiple quantity feature to request custom quotes, in a way. So if a job couldn't be done for $5, the seller would tell you have to pay $30. Then they would go on checkout and select quantity 6, and then they would pay $30, and so on. So in a way, it's like we want to keep the pricing strategy is meant to let everyone, to incentivize people to spend, to incentivize anyone to offer a service, not even very skilled ones, people who have a strange talent or anything, or who can do something because, I don't know, they live in Venezuela and they can do something fun for you from there. But at the same time, it doesn't limit skilled freelancers from entering, because they are always free. There are always features to empower them by allowing them to charge more and more, whatever they feel is fair for the service they offer.
And that's exactly how it should be, may I say that. And what is the most obscure offer that you've ever seen on fivebucks.com?
Well, I don't do all the moderation, but yeah, we have seen some pretty bad stuff, like Silk Road stuff, which we have immediately removed. I don't like talking or mentioning, but white-hat obscure, I would say, people offering friend services, like I'll be your friend for $5 on Skype. I mean, that was fun, especially during the bear cycle, when prices were bottoming out and people really needed friends, and there was this guy offering to be a friend. It was pretty fun.
That's actually quite clever. And are there any other interesting demographics that you can tell us? For example, is there any sort of pattern as to where providers are or users are? Anything interesting there?
Yeah, I mean, our top freelancers are basically from Venezuela and from Bangladesh. But
Wow.
we also, but these are mainly, they sell a lot in the lower tier price range. They are not necessarily less skilled, you know, than people who charge more. But these guys sell more because they charge less, I think, for the best quality price ratio that they are capable of offering. Then we also have the freelancers even from Italy. I've not from Italy. We have freelancers from the United States. We have freelancers from pretty much everywhere in the world, even from Germany, some designer. And but the highest concentration is also is Africa, Asia, and Latin America.
Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Wow. And in terms of the users, is there any?
In terms of users, our biggest buyers are US based.
Yeah, wow.
Obviously, yeah, US based, also from the UK and from Europe, but the biggest amount of organic buyers, like people that we have no clue where they come from, you know, like randomers, are basically US based, or at least they feature a US IP on our site. And then we have we have then, you know, buyers from our community and stuff, but I take that with a pinch of salt, because it's although they are, we work hard to serve them well, but I think your question was about the market, what the organic market is signaling, and where we see buyers, maybe not even necessarily active within BSV, is from North America.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. It's quite. I suppose it is an American sounding website. Bucks is a word that English people would associate with America, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Maybe £5 could be a competitor. You could start that on the side, and €5.com. You could have five everything. Well, five Bitcoin. No, not fast too much.
There is a website, Five Squid. I think squid is the word in British. Yeah.
Yes,
squid.
It's one of them. Yes. So for the entrepreneurs out there, just to give them an idea, when you sat there and you have this thought in your head about doing this particular vision of yours, how on earth does it get into fruition, and how does it end up on the computer screen? How much of a task is that?
Well, it's not an easy task, because I mean, Fivebucks is a complicated website. I mean, the front page is relatively easy. The toughest part is the managing it, curating it, and making sure that the website is in good shape all the time. Then the even tougher part was designing it. I mean, the architecture, how to bring it to life, because you have to manage multiple aspects, like notifications. You have to manage an on-site categorization, display of things. Then you have to manage the ranking of services. You have to set up a system to monitor people by performance, and from there, you know, and then you have in the beginning, like I'm going backwards now from the current challenge backwards to, and in the beginning, the idea, I mean, to come to the decision to go and build Fivebucks was based on a basic input-output consideration, cost-benefit consideration, how to get the most output for the same amount of input. And I saw Fivebucks as something that brings together both crypto and non-crypto users. It can be marketed to anyone. I don't have to. It incentivizes non-users to use crypto. So in a way, it is designed. It has aligned incentives to increase our own user base as well as that of BSV. And so from there, like, we did all this itinerary, and in the end, it brought us with Fivebucks that you see today, on which we are always working and planning future improvements, how to improve best, etc. But always keeping resources in mind, because I'm a very economic guy, and I like efficiency a lot, and and we like to keep it efficient and lean throughout the process.
And do you have a you talked about medical school, but do you actually have a technical background?
No, I don't have a technical background, and this was my main problem in the beginning to get started, because I had to find some technical guys, reliable, with whom to build it, because it's not easy, you know, also considering how crypto is with all its risks and inherent risks. So for that, yeah, I've worked before on technical projects, but mainly solo projects, like me and another guy, because I've been working with applications and stuff.
Mm.
But not of this style, because this is a very delicate project, because you are dealing with other people's money and earnings, and we're taking a lot of responsibility. And so in this sense, yeah, it was good. I spent almost like 4 months trying to find to set up a good team for this, a reliable team, people I could trust.
Awesome.
And from there until we got started in the end, and things went pretty much smoothly later on.
Yeah, this is. Do you think the accessibility to Bitcoin, BSV, is in terms of entrepreneurs who might not have a technical background? Is that a problem? Do you think at the moment?
Yeah, because the number of developers who are familiar with crypto, blockchain, and so is, from my experience, from the research I've done, is still a very small percentage of the total developer population community. So, if you want to build something, if you are not a developer who is familiar with these, with Java, I think, and those, then you have to do quite a bit of searching and scouting, headhunting, and and then of course it's also the human impact is very important, how much you trust the person. So what I think in terms of accessibility, what I need and I hope to see, and we are already seeing, I mean, the trend is obviously towards increased accessibility for developers in Bitcoin. Like, just think about the unwriter tools and stuff, is to make it much easier for people to build. Because, for example, we forget that the biggest money makers in online, in the internet, weren't, I mean, of course, I'm saying retail money makers weren't the Zuckerberg or other technical guys, were a lot of small entrepreneurs who had websites that were monetized through Google AdSense, for example, or monetized to other services for which you needed very little skill, very little technical skill. You just need to set up a site and place an ad, like Potun, for example, is doing, which is very good. So I hope to see this in BSV, to make it much easier for anyone to create content, to monetize it, and while retaining their own independence as an actor, as a business.
That's absolutely fantastic. And how what happened during the hash war? How did your business cope with the hash war? Do you mind telling us?
Yeah, in the hash war, things got very ugly. It's like, yeah, my conception of a lot of people changed during the hash war. Like, starting from Roger Ver and a lot of people that for whom I previously had a lot of respect, and whom I respected a lot during the hash war. I mean, it brought out the worst out of them, and they were the worst in a sense, because I mean, censorship, personal attacks, and then so all these things got ugly, and we had the foresight, and we were called headness to maintain a clear vision of what we wanted. And what we wanted with Fivebucks was a healthy market, not a market driven by witch hunts and personal attacks. So, and we also wanted a base, a technological base that was actually Bitcoin, and wasn't a centralized platform, a centralized stage where some invisible hand gets to pick who gets on stage and who goes down. So we liked BSV because it was, like the expression we often use, is a rock solid base on which anyone could build, and which wasn't a stage for few handpicked people. And we decided to follow BSV also because of the MetaNet future, which very few people understood at the time. I mean, when Craig first mentioned MetaNet, Dr. Craig Wright first mentioned MetaNet, I think most people called him crazy. I mean, even all-time Bitcoiners, because it was very hard to capture that vision. But going on chain, and a future where you can make your website leaner, more effective by exploiting the ability of the BSV blockchain to host data and to elaborate, manipulate them, etc., is in my opinion a tremendous advantage, and can help business unleash tremendous potential in the future. And we see this future only in BSV, nowhere else. Everywhere else, you just see a very dry cryptocurrency that literally on its own provides very little advantage compared to, I mean, one is equal, they are pretty much replaceable with each other except for BSV, which has this on-chain metanet thing dimension, which makes it pretty much irreplaceable. And if you think long term, the only choice is really BSV, because one day as we grow, we also plan to exploit these on-chain capabilities, and we can only do that on BSV. So the choice was clear for us to follow BSV.
Yeah, absolutely right. And Craig Wright, how much of your Bitcoin learnings are down to Dr. Craig Wright?
A lot. I mean, 99% maybe, because yeah. I mean, the good thing about Craig is that I mean, he's a very technical guy, of course, so I can't pretend to understand everything he writes. He also is very proficient, so I can't also pretend to have read everything he has written. But by following him, by following his talks, and by reading some article whenever you got some free time in your hand, you know, for whoever is listening, like, you don't have to read, because reading the work of Craig Wright is like in medicine. There is this internal medicine book of Harrison, you know, it's 1,500 pages of fine print, you know, it's like crazy. When people see that in medical school, they don't want to give up. But so the same is for Craig Wright. I mean, he does a lot of stuff, but if you just read through some of his papers, like based on title, just the design of Bitcoin and what Bitcoin is, and on blockchains, etc., like, it provides a very good basic understanding that can also guide your decision making while running a business, because it can help you avoid some common traps, you know, with some dead ends. It can help you maintain a clear vision in times of, because one thing about we are still in the very early stages of Bitcoin is a pretty young beast still, you know, it still has to grow a lot. So even the hash war last year, it was tremendously confusing, because we are at an early stage, and the miners themselves are, I mean, needed educating. So to realize their own potential and what they could do with their hash. And but in the future, everything will be clearer. Everything will be easier, because the hash work won't be so protracted. Minority hash rate won't be so stubborn and stuff. So, but if you want to surf through these early stages of Bitcoin with clarity, then I strongly recommend educating yourself and getting your information straight from the source, Satoshi Nakamoto himself, because he's very good at explaining in explaining in simple terms very sophisticated concepts that nobody else talks about, not even understands. Even all-time Bitcoiners or developers who like to present themselves as pioneers, they still miss very basic stuff, very basic things about Bitcoin that you can understand straight very easily by reading few of Craig's articles or watching some of his talks, and you will already know more than a lot of old-time pioneer developers.
Absolutely agree. And I think you've said the crucial thing of he says it in such a way where everybody can understand it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't feel the need to try and patronize people with big words and silly things like that. He just explains it very basically how it is, and it all makes sense, and all the, you know, everything sort of fits into place, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's like
yeah,
in simple English.
Exactly. Yeah. And who are your favorite businesses within the blockchain space?
Well, look, I can categorize them in two sets. On the one side are businesses that I think are already making money, so they are my favorites by default, because they are businesses and they are making money, so they are fulfilling their mission. And it's not easy nowadays to have a profitable business in crypto. So I think WeatherSV is doing a great job, an amazing job. And so it's my top favorite business, because they
are they making money though, is the question, because when I spoke to Paul, he was not for profit and stuff, you know.
Well, not being for profit and making money are not necessarily, I mean, mutually exclusive. Of course, it cannot be for profit, but I think they make money. I mean, more than they have considerable cash flow. I mean, they are generating 1 million transactions, I think. And so that's a good thing, and that's very promising, because it means, you know, there is movement, there is commercial activity in this space. There can be presented the right opportunity. And then I also like Money Button a lot, because first of all, we use Money Button as $5, and I like Money Button because of it is a mixture of good user interface, good user experience, and it is around like a business. very passionately and very rationally by Ryan and his team. And I think Ryan is the mastermind anyway. But I really like all the ploys they do, which like, for example, all the new services, features they introduced, and how they monetized everything, and they did great. And they did great, and it's impressive. A lot of businesses can learn a lot by following them, by looking closely, and by trying to recreate what they do instead of I mean, it's this is, I said this recently in another interview, like, I really don't like when people criticize businesses for making money. It's like Money Button is very good at it, so it did a great job. On the other hand, as businesses with potential, you know, with that have a lot of growth potential ahead of them, but are still at very early stages, so we might have to wait a while before they I like the Handcash wallet because it's user friendly, and is user friendly. It definitely has a lot of potential. I really see a lot of potential in it. And the other business I like is Powtoon. It is a great idea, and I haven't tried it. I need to try it myself to get a direct feel. But I
what
like.
business was that? Sorry, can you say that again, Getar?
Powtoon. The odds. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Tonic Pal.
Yeah, Tonic Pal. Sorry.
Yeah.
Tonic Pal. And yeah, I like it because the ad market as a website. I mean, the easiest thing people can do is start a blog or start a content website. So what there will always be demand for is to monetize these blogs, and with Tonic Pal you can do that easily by inserting ads, so basically like a species of Google AdSense in BSV. And yeah, these are pretty much my favorite right now of what I see in the space. That there seems to be already also some momentum, but you know, they need time, and they will grow as BSV grows.
And have you had a look at Streamanity and Twitch?
Yes, Twitch not yet. I love Twitch. What is happening right now with Twitch? It definitely, like, it's an amazing thing. It's one of the most beautiful things happening on BSV right now. I haven't had a chance to try it myself yet because of I've been waiting for signups to be public, not because not out of negligence, but because I don't have a Money Button. I use it for $5. I don't want to mix the things and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I really like the concept, the idea. It is using, though, an untested incentive scheme, very disruptive. I mean, if it gains speed, it will be really disruptive for the whole. I mean, it will be a very strong proof of concept business that will turn upside down a lot of other business models as we see them today in the internet. So I love the idea. I love the push it is getting, because I mean, in terms of users and stuff, I would like to try it myself more to get a first-hand feel. But yeah, it's definitely on the list of businesses I like with Handcash and Tonic Pal.
Yeah, I mean, Handcash is flying, isn't it, at the moment? Everyone's on it. Everyone loves it.
Yeah, Handcash is flying because it's very easy to use. And the same for Streamanity. I love Streamanity. The developers have done a great job.
Yeah.
And I really like it. I think on the business side, some things could be done. Maybe I see more realized potential than the actual one. Maybe because of the fee structure, where the previews are short. Like for example, if my advice to the guys would be to maybe let every user give them 1 or 2 free videos per day. So popular videos, a user can see one free video per day, and so some videos can get a high viewer count, and then through word of mouth,
that's a great idea.
They can recruit others, and you don't have to see videos with 12 or 15 views all the time. And if they want to see more in the meantime, you also give them time to onboard themselves. Like in the beginning, they can experiment a bit, get familiar with the platform. They can watch 1 video per day, and then as they want to see more, as the amount of content produced increases, then they can start paying. They will slowly start paying for more videos to watch.
Getar, I've met the guys at Streamanity, and they are a couple of fantastic young gentlemen, and I shall pass on your great comments there. I'm sure they'd be very, very grateful for that feedback. But I might tell them that the idea was mine. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
No, I'm joking. So that's your favorite entrepreneurs inside the world of Bitcoin
Mhm.
and your favorite businesses or etc. How about outside of Bitcoin? Who's your favorite entrepreneurs and businesses, if you have any?
Well, as Fivebucks suggests, one of my favorite businesses is Fiverr and Misha Kaufman, and I'm a big fan of his. I mean, I like what he has done with Fiverr, how it started, and now Fiverr went public, and it is a billion worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and it all
Mm.
started with $5. I knew about Fiverr right from the start. I was in high school at the time, and yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it's been crazy for me to see it evolve so quickly and stuff.
Can you explain to the viewers quickly what Fiverr is, in case they don't know?
Fiverr is basically just like $5, but the version with PayPal with legacy money, and you can get their services also in there starting from $5. But now Fiverr introduced, I think 2 years ago, introduced packages.
Yeah.
So you have also there you have these 3 tiers of for every service. You have a low budget, middle budget, high budget, I think, or and then you can get all types of things on Fiverr, like literally anything you can think of, because in 10 years of activity, it has capillarized so much. It has split it in so many categories and subcategories that you can see pretty much everything. You can find anything you need in there. The only disadvantage on Fiverr is that you have to use, disadvantage that you have to use traditional money, and commissions are a bit high. If you spend only $5, for example, you have to pay $2 commission.
That's right.
Yeah, but compared to other, I've also used a lot Fiverr's competitor, which used to be Odesk. Now it's Upwork. Upwork. I think also that one went public with a different fee structure, different. It wasn't. I prefer more the Fiverr model in the freelance ecosystem. And yes, and as a whole, then I'm also a fan of, generally speaking, I'm a fan of efficient businesses as well as disruptive businesses. Like, I like Tesla on one hand, but I'm not such a big fan of it because I mean, Elon is obviously a genius, but on the business side of things, it's a bit underperforming. And I used to like Facebook a lot as a business because the guy knows how to run a business, obviously, although he makes a lot of enemies in the way, but it's just pushing the boundaries of the economy. And but at the same time, I don't like it because it's not so principled in a way, as we all know it. Like Facebook, it's actually gone out of hand with we all know why.
Yes.
So pretty much I don't have a set preference on one or the other. My favorite business is always my own, but in general, I appreciate these. I'm like a sponge, I try to learn and observe from everything and everyone, and try to incorporate what those people teach. And
that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So all the entrepreneurs that are listening to the show, the potential entrepreneurs, take all this in, guys. And speaking of entrepreneurship, where did your passion for making? I can sense there's a passion for making money, Getar. Am I right? And where did it come from?
I think it's something that we all have in us. It's just we need to discover and nurture it. I mean, it isn't so much about making money as about trading. Since I was in middle school, I always liked trading. I was living in a relatively poor neighborhood in Istanbul, and when I was in middle school, we were collecting those player cards. And in my neighborhood, you could get them for cheaper. So I was buying for my neighborhood, but I was going in an upscale high school with a lot of rich kids. So I was selling them to them with a profit.
How old were you when you did that?
I was 11 when I did that. So
Wow.
it has always been in me a bit, Whenever I saw inefficiency or a difference, low high, I would buy low and sell high. It's been in my blood.
That is absolutely brilliant. So this all started at 11 years old. And so you obviously remember the feeling of your first trade, where you suddenly thought, hold on a second, I can sell this for X amount here.
Yeah, exactly. I was going there, and I also knew how to keep the trick of the trade, and I will tell people that I was buying them for cheaper. So it was, that's half of the business. skill most of the time is to not show your hand, or to not give out your skill or the competitive advantage, what really makes you make money versus somebody else. Because, you know, you could ask someone else to buy, but they would get lazy. But when they asked me, I was always available because I was making money in the process. So it's like the key of business. And when a business makes money, it's much more, it can sustain itself. And which is also why I like to see a lot more businesses, successful businesses in BSV, because in the end, if a business can generate profit, that profit allows the business to deliver a good service. But if you can generate profit, no matter how passionate you are, sooner or later that business will wither, and the ecosystem as a whole. But this is why I like to see a spontaneous push of ventures, and we are already seeing a lot of them with a lot of support and a lot of great guys working on them. And I would like to see them thrive as businesses. I don't care how. I just want to see them, like Ryan or Money Button. I just want to see them thrive as businesses, and that would make me appreciate them a lot.
Yeah, we feel the same, and that's exactly why I've started this show, because we want to see businesses start, grow, and thrive on BSV. That this is the place to do business. Why would you encourage businesses to try BSV as a platform?
Well, when you are a business, basically, we live in a disruptive world, meaning that consumer behaviors are shifting, changing all the time, like sands in the desert, you know. But you at the same time, you need to adapt, to adapt to these changing behaviors. And a disruptive business, in general, I mean, doesn't mean that you have to not get disrupted by a competitor and stuff. Doesn't really mean that you have to follow them, as long as you have to understand your consumer better, or to focus on your consumer better. And what today is a big issue for consumers are payments, payment with PayPal, payments with Venmo. You know, you spend 3% for nothing with credit cards. You lose your own hard-earned money. You get it. It gets burned in fees, as if we already paid taxes, and now we have to lose another 5 to 10% in fees to PayPal and MasterCard. And basically we live off breadcrumbs. So if you understand this pressing issue, because a lot of people are not even aware of this, consumers, because, you know, we have a frenetic life, and we seldom have time to sit down and do the math and see how much we lose. How much we lose in inefficiencies, because the current payment ecosystem is extremely inefficient. So if you can, as a business, follow your customer, anticipate, you know, what they need, and help them save, then I'm sure your customer will appreciate it and won't leave you, and you won't have to be disrupted by BSV business, basically. So if my call to any business is actually to just look into BSV and see, and just touch it, see for themselves, you know, make a transaction, see how friction free it is, how much money you save by transacting in BSV, and then incorporate it at least as an optional payment method. And I think with this you get it's a change that requires very little cost, because it's really cheap to hire a developer. You can find it anywhere, even on Fivebucks. You can find people for $5. They will integrate Money Button into your website, and you can start accepting BSV right away. And it's very cheap, but gives you it's a very good output, gives you a lot of value, because you create an option for a growing community category of consumers to start using your website. And then, depending again how resourceful these businesses are, and what their scheme is, there are many ways that you can incorporate the BSV blockchain. Like, for example, for notary service, for example, Legally Unchained, I think, the new service that was launched for notary service, you can use for smart contracts and so. I mean, there's everything that you see with big buzzwords seen in advertised in other platforms, that you can do it for very cheap on BSV. And all these things can decrease friction, operational friction within your enterprise, within your company. It can decrease your operational risk because you have a lot of operation, and can decrease your supply chain risk, because if you monitor your supply chain better, then you can avoid rotten apples better. And in all these things, I mean, there are so many opportunities. Really, it's beyond, I think, beyond what I can tell, because you really need to study depending on the sector, on the industry where you are working. But on BSV, BSV is a cost cutter. So if you want to cut costs, to become more efficient as a business, I think every business should do at least some research, or if they can afford it, set up a small team to research potential applications of BSV within their own business. I mean, they need to find these incentives. I really don't like when we try to spoon feed them, what to do. I think businesses must want this, and only the best ones will get to benefit from the advantages that integrating BSV in a business offers.
It's going to take proof of work for them to understand it, as you described there. It's you have to, that's just really great, Getar. Just to cover that with for our viewers again. What I think is sort of getting at there is that the businesses who actively sort of respect it, have a good look at it, but have a real good look at it, not just for 5 minutes. Have a good look at it, get a team on it. They could really benefit and get first mover advantage and prosper, become more efficient, and effectively make any money. And do you have any predictions, Getar, on which big business, well-known business, if there is going to be one to come onto our blockchain, who do you think it might be, if you had a prediction?
I can speak by sector, but by naming businesses individually, I really don't think I can do that, because I would need to know more details, be on their board or something. But I would say, like in transport and logistics, there is definitely a lot of potential, and I think there is already a project like that. I forgot the name, but from Norway or something, about logistics, integrating BSV in logistics. And because with the shipping, I mean, logistics is also a big black mess. Nobody sees it, but to move things around the globe, it takes a whole industry that is worth billions, trillions of dollars, and it's very difficult. It's one of the toughest businesses out there, and also and this integrates also with other industries, like the food industry. People like to know where a product comes from. So with blockchain, you can have this all supply chain completely transparent for anyone to see, and at the same time you can track it, etc. So I think logistics is definitely on the top of the list. And then another one would be data management. Like I think you can put a lot of data on chain, and although I think there needs to be a standard format, so this data can be with metadata that can be processed and can be turned into information. So, and I think in data management, we will see a lot of this. And why not also in money transfer a lot? And this is also what I don't see in BSV, and I would like to see more. I mean, I don't see a lot of businesses pushing on this in this direction, in the direction of remittances and money transfers, because BSV makes for a great tool for people working abroad, far from their families, who need to send money back home, and you can do it very easily with BSV, saving a lot, and by maybe doing instant fiat crypto conversions. You can do it pretty much immediately. So if
you're describing exactly what Lorienne Gamaroff and Angus J. Brown talked about on my show last week. That's exactly what they're specializing in Centby. Is exactly remittances. They've seen the gap in the market, as you put it there. They said exactly the same thing. So yeah, I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, that's great to hear, because I missed the show. I haven't seen, but yeah, I'm happy that Centby is doing this, because also I believe Centby is uniquely positioned to do this well, because they are in Africa, and they have they have a lot of parted families, or people that work abroad and send money back home. So yeah, I would love to see Centby do more in this direction, and there is a lot of potential to capture here. And yeah, pretty much these ones. So logistics and remittances, money transfer business. and of course also in trading, in speculative trading. But I don't like to put it in my top two, top three list, because, well, it's still a niche business. I mean, it depends how you look at it. You know, people can be very judgmental towards speculative trading.
Okay, just going back to one of my favorite businesses in the Bitcoin BSV space, which is fivebuckscom. How crucial is constant improvement in business, especially in technology? How important is it?
I mean, it's not important. It's one of the pillars on which a good business stands. Like, you must remain very agile and very flexible to adapt to new changes, and at the same time very efficient. And for this, you need to put some practices in place that make sure that you don't waste resources, which is what we at Fivebucks do very well. I mean, Fivebucks is run very with efficiency as our top priority in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, to follow your customers, to serve your customers, which you also keep in mind in Fivebucks. Like, our customers, our existing repeat customers are the first thing we think of when introducing, debating a new future, considering a new future. And because now BSV is a very small, I mean, it's a good, strong market, but still very small compared to, for example, non-crypto markets. So as a result, you might see very few repeat customers, but I think it's important for a crypto business to not forget to serve these customers well, and to put them and to give them a VIP treatment status, because these are the people who keep your business alive, and whom you are serving now. And from here, you will see more and more, and you're ambassadors in a way. So I think this is crucial, because it prevents wasting resources, and it prevents also later downtimes, bad service to your customers, and unhappy employees on your side when your customer. Because one thing we see is an unhappy customer leads to an unhappy person on our side, because whoever deals with that person, it's like negativity spreads. It's contagious. So people start fighting, or we see sellers, for example. Sometimes it happens that they fight with buyers, and it's $5, but still we must maintain a positive environment, and for this we must treat everyone with respect. And this is what we try to emphasize also on Fivebucks. I mean, we have this system of account warnings, etc. Sometimes I've gotten a lot of backlash because of this on social media from unsatisfied customers, because if you speak rudely to a seller, like for us, that's unacceptable. Like, everyone must be treated with respect.
Yeah.
And basically, so I think treat your team members with respect, your employees with respect, defend them with conviction against disrespectful customers, or just, and then focus on efficiency. And I think it's very important to cultivate these practices that enable an efficient environment that doesn't encourage waste of resources or waste of time.
Wow, and that's absolutely incredible. The viewers are going to love that. The developments on Fivebucks, what exciting things are happening behind the scenes? Anything you can tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, we are working on improving, I can say that, and we are working on a new version, and which will have some new features. And we don't have an ETA yet, because we are still familiarizing ourselves. We are going to work with a new team this time. We are still getting to know each other and planning ahead. But we have been basically getting feedback from users and taking notes what people want. And now we are in the process of building something that delivers on that, and while keeping our resources in mind, because we don't work with unlimited resources, so we have to keep it as lean as possible. So what we want to allow in the future is to, first of all, better user interfaces, better user experience overall, because now the website is a bit lacking, because this first version is a bit lacking in that sense, and we know our users deserve better, and we are working to deliver on that. And then the next thing, we'll let some new features, like we'll let some better pricing options, better features for sellers, to allow sellers to upsell more easily, to increase order flexibility. Like, for example, a buyer buys from you, then he changes his mind, he also wants more, he can add money directly to the order. So there are a couple of features, but in the direction where we are, just we're planning to amplify the flexibility for sellers and buyers, both sides.
It's just brilliant. It's just music to my ears. This has anybody invested? Have you had any investment at all?
No, it's Fivebucks so far is self-funded. Like it's basically funded by me. But
Wow.
yeah, we're open to investors. We could consider investment, but I'm very careful when considering. We have received some offers, but for me, it's very important to have to partner up with the right type of people, right type of organization, so that we don't have problems down the line. So culture for me is very important. Work culture, and people who understand also Fivebucks in the first place. So when one investor approached me once, said, "Do you need funds?" I said, I need good advice first. So give me good advice, then we can discuss funds, because that's what we really need here.
And yeah, are you enjoying your time so far in the Bitcoin space, the BSV space?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it started I got catapulted into Bitcoin, as I told you, from Forex trading. I got in it just purely for speculation, but then I've learned a lot, and I always had a lot of interest. So as I said, I was a medical student, and I was maintaining a risk management blog on the side. So I was always very but in Bitcoin SV, I could cultivate a lot of things, because here a lot of different types of skill intersect, and you see people trying to score all sorts of objectives, and it inspired me exactly because of this to set up some objectives of my own, and this time as a business, and I'm trying to score those objectives as a business.
Oh, brilliant. So you're just basically going to stand up and do something about it, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
And are you a serial entrepreneur, or do you have a little baby and you caress, you look after that baby and grow it as big as it can go?
Depends, really. I mean, so far my entrepreneurial ideas have always been pretty small on the conceptual side, but very good at making money. So I've been very cynical in this sense. I mean, in my first 6 years of entrepreneurship, I've sought profit, and I've followed short-term trends in the past. But now with Fivebucks, with Bitcoin, I'm all for cultivating this little baby and seeing it grow and grow a lot, because I think there is a lot of potential here. This is a new sector still, that of online freelance work. There are a lot of challenges for existing players, like for Upwork and for Fiverr, and for established players, because the workforce is immense, and all these platforms are trying to scale vertically. So they're trying to upsell as much as possible, because of course the space of servers is limited. So you have to make the most profit per unit of dollar that you spend. So you have to focus on scaling vertically, on getting only the top of the top. But at the same time, in this way, you sacrifice a lot of convenience. As I told you earlier, like our top selling actors are from Bangladesh and Venezuela, because they offer a very good price quality ratio. But if you have pressure to scale vertically, then you have to cut these people out, even though they can do the same job for $5, let's say. Since $5 gets 10% of that $5, then we are more interested in someone who can do the same job for, say, $25. So we rule these people out. But with Bitcoin, I think long term we'll be able to scale horizontally. Now I need that figured out. I would like some advice there, but I want to bet on this idea that with Bitcoin, businesses can scale horizontally, and you can have basically the Amazon of freelance on a platform like Fivebucks, where you can have all tiers of work, and maybe why not even put all of these services. I mean, I don't also put these services on chain, or use the on-chain futures, and to create a wide worldwide marketplace where anyone can list themselves, and Fivebucks becomes basically just an AI engine that just ranks these services instead of having to host them on our servers, and etc., etc.
So that's the bigger picture, effectively.
Effectively, yeah, that's a bigger picture. Scary, like a long way ahead, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's the bigger picture.
way into the future. Wow. And look, let me just change the subject a little bit here. This is something we've been talking about on the last 2 or 3 shows. Emerging countries, you know, Venezuela, they're in the news at the moment having problems. Bangladesh, from what my friend tells me, monthly wages aren't great in a place like that. What type of effect can something like fivebuckscom have on the workforce and the economy in general and Bitcoin? You know, how could it help or affect?
I mean, on Bitcoin, it can onboard those people on Bitcoin, and on those countries, it can empower those people, because it can increase the employment opportunities, the employability of those people, because right now they have to look for job locally, or they have to look for job on established freelance platforms, and they probably got suspended from established online platforms because they asked for Skype, and then they are stuck trying to find jobs in local markets. And
Yeah.
in local markets, we know those markets are weak and rely basically, I mean, on outsourcing services to established corporations, stuff in textile and etc. So not for digital services, not so good for people with digital skills. So what Fivebucks can do, it can empower them, but Fivebucks alone cannot, though, because, as I said, I mean, Fivebucks will ultimately become the same as other established players if we just follow a normal centralized server scaling itinerary. But if we follow the Bitcoin scaling itinerary, then I believe we can scale, maybe not completely horizontal, but we can be much more horizontal. We can include a much wider base of users than we would if we follow the traditional pathway. And we also decrease friction in payments, and we also help these people. I mean, you no longer need to go from Syria to Germany to find a job. You can stay in Syria. By the way, we have a couple of users from Syria, and you can get paid there for doing logo design or something.
Amazing.
And you get paid directly. Your country is at war. Now you have money. You are not dying of hunger. If they pay you $5 to blow up, I mean, or more, you don't do it anymore because you are not desperate. You don't have 10 kids. You can feed your children. So extremists, it becomes much more difficult for these extremists to recruit people who are desperate to make a living. And these people later are empowered. They vote for better politicians. They vote for better policies. And in a way, now it's too optimistic, but in a way we could cure a lot of diseases that detract the normal life of these third world countries by simply encouraging trade, and in a platform like Fivebucks, by sending money to people there who have skills, because they have a lot of people who have skills, but they get cut out of the market, and they end in a total state of despair because they have no way to connect themselves with the global market for that specific skills. And Fivebucks in this sense serves as a bridge.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, any potential entrepreneurs who are listening to this show, who are in any of those types of regions, you need to have a look at fivebucks.com, because your skills are wanted, your skills are in demand. And there's people out there that if you do have the skills, they're going to use you. What advice do you have to up and coming entrepreneurs who are thinking about doing a business and just nearly almost there?
I mean,
entrepreneurs on Bitcoin as well.
Yeah, well, entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs, so they don't really need much of an advice. They need numbers, and they need to see numbers to trigger that action taken. So what I would say to entrepreneurs is to take a small leap of faith, because in Bitcoin you have immense potential. Like I mean, most of entrepreneurs are busy all the time doing something. I don't have time to read, to educate and stuff. I mean, watch a Craig Wright video or 2 or 3 and understand what the potential is here. And I mean, you don't have to give up your main business. You can start a side business here and try to deliver something that is connected to their skill, or to simply integrate BSV to make their enterprise more leaner, more flexible, less wasteful, and to just get started, to be disruptive, basically, because in a way, or I mean, this is the future. This is the future of payments and of data. So if you get here now, it's like it's just going to be an added value for your business long term, because this is a long term skill. I mean, sooner or later you're going to have to learn about this. Better learn about it now and start integrating it in your business and outcompete your competitors, than having to wait when it's in the guidelines or best practices manual by some consulting firm like PwC or Deloitte or SAP. So it's really up to their willingness. And I think entrepreneurs who are pro innovation, pro disruption, who are early movers, they will definitely come to BSV now, and then early followers will follow. But in a way, I think we have to just reach out to early movers, early first movers, because those are the ones who will definitely see opportunity in BSV right away.
That's absolutely gold dust. And just the final couple of questions now, then we'll start pulling this to a close now. Non-technical people who have wanted to start businesses on this BSV network, what do you say to them? How do I achieve it? Non-technical people, what do they do?
Come to Fivebucks, and that's your first business you can start right away, and you'll be getting paid in BSV. And if you have a special requirement for your service, contact support at fivebuckscom. We will look into it and we'll try to adapt to your needs. For example, even if you have a service that you cannot sell for $5, we'll consider letting you create a listing only for your service that starts from a higher price range. And that's the first advice I'll give you. Second advice I'll give you is start. If you have a blog, if you are an artist, if you are a blogger, incorporate money button into your service, incorporate it into your blog, incorporate it into your shop. And again, come on Fivebucks. You can find someone who will do that for you for only $5. They will let you incorporate money buttons, so you can start accepting BSV right away. And then if it depends for the rest. I mean, if you are unsure about what you could do because you don't have many skills, etc., then there is always a massive BSV community online, which is, it is really massive because it's very active and people forge a lot of personal relationships. It's not just noise, it's a lot of signal. So connect with people on Twitter from BSV or on Reddit and ask them questions that could even present yourself, introduce yourself, and get feedback from people on what you could do. Just don't sit and wait for something to rain on your lap. I mean, just take some action.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Getar, we've been talking for just over an hour now, and I've had the most amazing time talking to you, and thanks for sharing everything today.
Yeah, me too. It's a pleasure talking to you, Nick. It's like first time here, and it was a pleasure. Felt like home.
Good. As we go down the line in BSV, would you like to come back and talk to us again as the developments come through, so we can tell everybody?
Absolutely, yes. I'm always happy to come and talk, and to talk to your audience and you and everyone else.
Well, thank you so much, Getar. Just to the viewers today, this is going to conclude the version number 4 of the BSV Business Show, which is available only on Streamanity. So you can have a look at that. This edition has featured Getar Hoti from fivebuckscom, which is a brilliant website if you're looking at starting businesses or if you have a skill that you can offer. Think outside the box. It doesn't just have to be a technically related skill, as we've been talking about today. It could be anything. You never know. Even if you want to befriend someone for $5, that's always an option as well. So please do have a look at fivebuckscom. I've used it myself for quite a few things now, and I've been very pleasantly surprised with the results, and it all adds to the brilliant ecosystem of Bitcoin that we're all engrossed in. And it will also encourage you to, think about starting businesses. So I hope you've learned many fantastic business lessons today during this show. I know I certainly have, and I'll be listening back to this show again. So whoever puts the best comment in the comments, I'm going to give you $5. All right. Yeah, so whoever does the best comment in the comments, you're going to win $5 that you can spend on fivebuckscom and get your business started on behalf of us. How about that, Getar?
Thank you, Nick. Great talking to you. Good luck.
Thank you ever so much, Getar, and we'll catch up another time. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, listeners.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.